welcome back to our Victory Garden series. We are back in Doug's garden, which has grown significantly.
It's sitting right in front of some horseradish.
Since we last came here. It's absolutely beautiful back here. And most people might think that gardening is wrapping up. We're just doing our final, starting to harvest all of our tomatoes, but you can actually get planting right now for a fall harvest.
Don't stop.
Never stop gardening.
Stop. No. This is the perfect time to start planting. I know it's been dry, it's been hot, but the days are getting shorter. It's going to cool off, and if we plant now, we could be harvesting seriously all the way into winter.
I like to hear that. So what do we plant?
Well, we're going to start off with Swiss chard. I've got Swiss chard lettuce, kale, and a different type of Swiss chard here.
And there's lots of plants in this one little
cell.
cell.
Well, that's what I was going to say. When you go to a good local nursery, take your time. And I'm looking through, I did this yesterday, I'm looking through all the plants, and I found this one here. There's got to be maybe 10 plants in here, and you're paying maybe $3 for it.
Yeah, that's very economical. So Swiss chard, tell us the benefits of eating and growing Swiss chard.
Well, Swiss chard is from the beet family, but it doesn't set a root. It's growing up. And the thing is, it doesn't mind hot weather, and it loves cool weather. So we can take this all the way, like I said, maybe all the way through winter. When we get into the series later, I have all sorts of tips and tricks to keep things going. But for now, all we're going to do is I'm going to knock this out, and I'm going to do the plants. I'm going to make you plant the seeds, which we'll do next.
Sounds good.
And so we're just going to gently tease these apart.
Yeah, just like we were doing in earlier videos. You can be a lot rougher with your plants than you might expect.
Yeah, definitely. And as soon as I get a good one out of here, I'm going to put it right into a little planting hole. Now, this is good compost. This is compost that's been in here for a year, but it looks good. It is nice and moist. I watered it the last couple of days because it's been so dry. What was here before were some mustard greens and peas. When they're done, then we just, for the time being, just let it stay fallow. And I just put, the compost was already on here, but I put another little layer, 1/4 inch of compost on. And now we'll just stack these plants in here and see if we have room to put some of this other stuff in. If not, we'll move to another bed and we'll squeeze them in.
Perfect.
All right. And I love this water wand from Dram. Just a nice, soft flow of water. I'm not knocking the plant over. And as I said, every 2 or 3 plants, I want to get water on them right away. Just to get them a good start. Don't plant an entire bed or 2 beds or 3 beds and then come back and do the water.
Oh, see, that's what I would do. So.
All right, I'm going to continue.
Always learn something new.
And we will have room for other plants, so that's exciting. I've got some romaine lettuce there. And I'm using a technique here where I've got my 1, 2, 3, then I'm going to put 1 and 1 here, just kind of a grid pattern. And they're just going to grow together and be this just carpet of green.
And romaine lettuce, I mean, you know, a couple years ago, there was that big listeria scare, you know. You don't have to worry if it's right in your backyard. You know exactly how it's grown and processed, and you can just go pick it and enjoy your salads.
Look at the size of that thing.
I know, it's just beautiful.
These are going to, you could pick them in probably a week, but I'm going to let them get big.
Oh, yeah.
And even though I watered this bed, I can tell it's still a little dry, so we'll have to keep that. And then the next thing we'll do is once we get this all planted, we'll do some mulching also.
Okay. Now, Doug, what are some of your favorite cold crops to grow besides lettuce?
I'm telling you, arugula, Swiss chard, root crops like beets can be still started. All sorts of other greens, you know.
Like any brassicas, like Brussels sprouts?
Too late.
Cabbages,
too late for them.
Okay.
You know, it's going to take too long. But kale would be the quickest one.
Okay.
I guess it's romaine lettuce now since you're already splitting them up.
Always got to do something with my hands.
All right. And this is one called, I think it was Caesar Giant or something like that. And so, I like having an assistant to do all the hard work. Because the planting is the fun part.
Yeah.
The splitting it up and all that. All right. Again, same thing, grid pattern. We're not going to do 3 of them at a time. This is teamwork, Ashley. This is
absolutely nice. All right. You just
got
to have me over for some Caesar salads.
I will, and I wanted to know how your garden was doing from last week.
Oh my goodness. You know what? You said those cabbages might not make it, but we've had a couple cool spells here, and I think I might be able to get 1 or 2 out of them. So I'm pretty happy about that.
You're happy because you were right and I was wrong.
A little bit.
I hate when that happens.
Beautiful. beautiful.
Well, we had enough room for this Caesar salad ingredients.
Yeah.
And next thing we're going to do...
Come through with mulch?
Right, after we're done watering, and I mean really watering, soaking these in. I can see when I get down there into the digging of this, that the soil structure is still rather dry. The mulch will keep the soil evenly moist. Oh, there we go. And we won't have to water as often. And then under these conditions, when we haven't had a lot of rain, that is a godsend.
Yes.
So you're just going to want to tuck that mulch around the plant. You can kind of lift up those leaves. Yep, just like that. And I'm going to start on this side.
All right. Oh, this little guy popped out of there.
This was the mulch that was on the peas, actually, so we're using it again.
See?
It's starting to break down a little bit. No problem there. All right, let's finish this up. And you're going to be our seed planter, okay?
All right.
We did our plants, and now we're going to grow some from seed. And it's just so exciting to be planting.
It really is, because you really
dirty.
think it's like there's no way you could start seeds right now. And it's just nice to know that you can still get out in the garden and grow something.
We're going to have you choose what you want to grow, too. So
All right.
All right, we're going to work right in the bed next to you.
Cool.
So what do we have on here that we put on top of our compost?
Yeah, so we just put a little bit of our commercial blend for pit moss, and you can tell it has a lot of our pit moss fibers in it, but a little peat and a little perlite, so it's super, super fine for seed starting. And yeah, it just blends right really nicely into your compost. It wets down easily, just like all of our other pit moss products, and it's great for a seed starter.
Well, we'll get it moist, and then the nice thing is underneath it, this will be perfect for starting the seeds, but underneath it we also have compost.
Compost, super rich, because there's definitely no nutrients in this material that I brought for you today.
But it's good to have this fine texture for seed starting.
Yep, absolutely.
All right, now I'm going to go through the seeds I have in my pocket, and you decide what you want this bed to be filled with.
All right. All right, Doug, what do you have for me today?
Here are your options. These are all things that could be started now.
Okay.
Lettuce, mini greens blend, Asian greens, Ms. America Mizuna, radish China Rose, it's a winter radish, Surrey greens, just a mix of greens, red Russian kale, corn salad, I've got some of that growing over there, so forget that.
Okay.
More Asian greens, this is called Frizzy Lizzy mustard greens. I grew those in the spring. Lettuce, Little Gem, and from Baker Creek, one of your favorite companies, mustard Sayona?
Well, I like all the ones with funky names, so whatever that rose was. All
right, China Rose. This is a really cool radish.
Yeah, definitely do some radishes. Ooh,
and so just tap them out into your hand and try and keep them, if you can. You're never going to be able to spread them out right, but all I do is just kind of sprinkle them out, and we'll thin them when we thin them.
Thin them when you thin them.
Yeah. That's looking good. A little bit more distance between them if you can. I think I'm going to go a little further out with them too. Might as well get rid of the... Yeah,
and they're like more of an oblong variety.
And big.
Big.
You know, yeah, they're this big, and for some reason, specifically, it says fall sowing. We've got another half bed here. What are we looking for?
Definitely a green.
How about this? Really red deer tongue lettuce.
Ooh, gotta try that.
It looks just like a deer tongue. You know what a deer tongue looks like?
Big and red.
I guess. I don't know. I've never seen one.
Yeah, wow.
And that can be sprinkled thickly. Use whatever left in there.
Super nutritious, I'm guessing.
And do that. And then while you're doing that, I'm going to kind of cover up these radish seeds a little bit with the pit moss. And then we'll do another watering. And I go from about there over. And then after that, we'll be done.
All right. See, it can be done, folks. You can start seeding and growing right here in mid-August.
And later. That's the other thing. Keep going all the way to the end there and make them nice and thick. And this is where we'll have a nice carpet of greens.
All right.
And that pit moss is the perfect thing for these.
It really is.
Okay, that looks good. And good water content there, too.
All right.
All right.
You're right. That dram is the perfect speed for watering.
I love it. We're going to have quite a garden here. Caesar salad, we'll have our deer tongue lettuce, we'll have our winter radishes.
Yes. Now, obviously, we're not mulching here because we need to have some sunlight penetrating.
Well, you know what? In some cases, I would mulch this, but now I'm not gonna. I'm gonna let them sprout.
Okay.
And then we'll
come back with a...
Yeah, we'll kind of thin them out, and then we'll probably put some mulch on them.
Perfect.
Just to keep that soil evenly moist. So, Jeff, fun?
Absolutely. It's wonderful to get your hands dirty and know that you can still be planting this time of year. And even if you don't have a massively beautiful garden like Doug has, you can do all of this in containers. What do we have here, Doug?
I've got some kale growing here in case the rabbits get in. I put this into a live trap.
Okay.
I've got some beets in here because I love beets. And again, when you keep them up, if there's any critters in the garden, they can't get up here.
Less prone for critter feasting.
Right.
All right, so we're going to start with another video all about tomato problems you might be facing. So blights, some rotting, some
next
splitting.
Time we're going to talk all tomatoes.
All tomatoes. And then look forward to a future video about how to save your seeds that you've grown throughout all your garden.
One of my favorite things to do, and people don't do it much anymore, but you can save money, but also get the best seed by saving your own.
Oh, can't wait to learn all about it. All right, stay tuned. Thanks for joining us.